I am Jason Abraham, the Shadow, Teacher 33. As you can see, I'm back home again, back on the back porch where I film many of these vlogs. And I remember a couple of years ago, after the CE5, after the alien contact, I came back, and whatever was talking to me was still talking to me. I still felt this buzzing in my head. I was still getting downloads. And I was so excited because I believed that something magical was happening with me and something big was taking shape in our world. And in a sense, something big did take shape in our world at that time in 2020, because the world really hasn't been the same since. But I remember the words "full disclosures" coming, hitting me over and over like a beacon, like Morse code, just popping in my head. And at some point the download stopped, and I was back with me. But again, I was not the same. And this time, after returning from the beach, re-entry, if you will, no major downloads this time, but there's a state change once again that I notice. And even people who go on a regular vacation, who are at that point of burnout, and they simply need to take a pause in their life, and they need to get to a different scene where their brain is engaged in a different way. Or people who go on a retreat, who go and immerse themselves in a different environment with different people, with a guided mentor for an extended period of time. You go, and your state changes. And then sometimes when you're going back to a world where you have challenges and obstacles that maybe you haven't exactly figured out how to overcome, there can be a little bit of dread, a little bit of resistance. And what I found with me is, ever since that process of communication, I found that I never have been able to see the world the same and see people the same. And I see much of the time when people are running around living out programs, they're just living out something that something or someone else has put into them without any sort of awareness. And I don't see the person, I see the program, but I know that there is a person there, and there is potential for that person to wake up and be a person at any moment. And on the other hand, with that knowledge, I've had more compassion for people. I've had a greater capacity for me to hold space for other people who are caught up in the programs of the Matrix and take the Matrix very seriously, look at the Matrix as all there is. And with all that, though, there's a loneliness, because what I find is there are very few people that I can fully connect with, that I can fully have these types of conversations with, that I share in these videos. I don't have many people in my physical space. Actually, I really don't have any. I can connect with people on heartfelt levels, but what I find I have to do is I have to narrow my frequency to that point of connection, and that's how we're able to connect, and that's how I'm actually able to be very good at my work and coaching people in their health. But the price of that is loneliness. And it's sort of like you hear stories about people who've reached the top of a mountain. Not that I'm saying, I don't want to come from the perspective of saying I'm this great enlightened being, but it's a similar perspective when you do have a big awakening and you start to live on a different frequency of existence than much of your surroundings. These people who have succeeded in the ways of the world, they don't relate to most people the same way, and they say it's lonely at the top. It's a different kind of loneliness, again, because I think with people like that, there's always someone gunning for you. So always someone wanting to take your money, always someone wanting to use you, always wanting to take your spot, take your place of prestige and fame and status in the world. But with me, it's different. It's more, if I speak openly and I express this fuller bandwidth for me, then most people are simply not ready to hear that, and they just look at me like I'm fucking crazy and are just very dismissive of it, or sometimes even afraid, threatened, because it challenges their belief systems and their paradigms in such a profound way. So I'm always using discernment and how I express that. What I do instead is I embody, do the best that I can to embody the knowledge I have and just walk with a state of being that people feel, as opposed to feeling like I have to talk about this stuff all the time, but people feel it, and then when I'm given the opportunity to share my experience, then I open up. But there is, again, this profound state of loneliness with that, and I haven't found a solution. I haven't found a remedy for that loneliness, because I am still living that way myself. I don't have people in my immediate sphere that I share that type of connection, and I wonder if this is the norm for people who've had these experiences. When I hear other accounts, I'm starting to find that it is. That people who have these awakening experiences and they open up about them, they have these very lonely existence in some ways. So when you do find those few people who can hold space for you and are able to listen to you, and not just listen to you, but believe you, really open their hearts and have that heart connection to all that you are, that's a sacred blessing, whether that be in good friends or with romantic partners. That truly is a great blessing. But even when we are not blessed with that, we've got to find ways of making do with ourselves and a relationship with ourselves. Even in times, like I said, when the beings from beyond are not making contact, and then people in our physical world were starved somewhat of that connection, I believe this is my calling to connect with myself and be okay in my own skin in this strange experience that I'm having right now. And I know there's people out there who can relate, so that's why I'm making this video. So if you're in that situation, though, where you've had a profound experience of enlightenment, of awakening, and you're having a hard time connecting with people in your physical world, look at this as an invitation to go within yourself and find love for yourself, not in a narcissistic way, but in a nurturing way, in a way of knowing that your existence and your perspective is unique and of great value in this world at this time. Just remind yourself of that, and as you're going through your work, being a soldier of light in the matrix, a state of being of higher consciousness that is doing your best to live this out. Also, be sure to hold space for yourself, be good to yourself, and allow yourself to feel some happiness and love. And you know, if more people could talk about these things openly, and we could have these discussions without being judged, without old paradigms coming in and distorting things, we would literally be living in a new earth. We'd be living in such a different age. And I believe that transition's happening. You know, right now, the full disclosure starts with the exposure of corruption of the existing matrix and the exposure of deception and lies of what is. That's got to fall away, and then people have to be open and curious about the truth. Not the truth that they once thought was the truth, but what is the truth. Not in a nihilistic way. Nihilism is believing that there's no such thing as truth. Everything is relative, so I'm just going to make up my own shit. But no, being curious about what is the real truth behind all this. So that being said, I'm going to start my day and go out into this matrix and nourish a light within me and pray that that light shines and is not extinguished. And with that being said, be strong, be well, and I'll see you on the other side.